y'all? Welcome back to the chaos. If you're new here, I'm Ryan, and I've actually got a 2008 Dodge Viper. It is missing from the Chaos Garage, but it's because we got a little special project going on. So I've actually dropped the car a couple months ago with Toxic Customs, and let's give you the little rundown of what we're doing. So got the 2008 Viper, love the looks of it, but the one thing to me that kind of leaves a lot to be desired is the front grille. So kind of sneak peek, check out the background. We got a Gen 5 grille, which means we're doing the conversion from a Gen 4, or Gen 3, Gen 4 front bumper to the Gen 5 front bumper. So I've seen it done with varying levels of success. So I'm not gonna blast anybody out there that's done it poorly, but the end goal was similar to formerly drift driver Dean Carney. He used to run the Gen 4 car with the Gen 5 bumper, and I just fell in love with it, and so that's what I want for my street car. And before we get into what all the parts we have and the rundown of all the issues, I just want to thank you all for your feedback and everything. Like, that's, especially as a smaller channel, I love interacting with you all, love hearing your feedback. So whether it be good, bad, in between, I mean, I'm putting it out there. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, but I try to respond to each and every one of you. And some of you have had some really good ideas. So we've talked about Autoform is a Viper parts manufacturer. It's like a little small company, and they actually do like aero bits and conversions, stuff like that for the Viper. And they have a striker front bumper, which kind of blends the style of the 4th gen bumper with the 5th gen, but it retains like the fog lights and everything. And like, to me, although it's a really nice piece, it just doesn't speak to my soul. So I want to be happy with the car, but a good tip from you all said reach out to Autoform just to see if they could give us some tips and tricks on, they mess with Vipers all the time, where the shop that I've dropped it off at, Toxic Customs, this is brand new for them. So they've worked on Vipers, but never anything of this magnitude. So hopefully I get passed that information along to the shop. Hopefully they'll get up with Steve, the owner of Autoform, and get some pointers. But I really appreciate that feedback. So like I said, don't be scared. I'm always one of those people that kind of do a lot more lurking on channels and watching than I do like interacting, but I like to hear from you all. But let's get into the new parts that we got today and some of the issues, and then we'll go actually check out the car at the shop. Right off the bat, you're probably thinking to yourself, why the heck do you have 2 of the Gen 5 grills? And then let me explain. So I'm gonna do my best Vanna White. We've got our brand new, never installed Gen 5 grill. And then we have a slightly used, slightly damaged Gen 5 front grill. And the reason being is the initial thought was to just chop our Gen 5 front bumper right down the middle, right in half, then graft it back together. Well, in doing so, you've got like that mouth, the opening of the bumper itself. Obviously, if we cut it down the middle and graft it back together, well, the Gen 5 bumper in itself is about an inch on each side wider than the Gen 4. So you take that mouth, and if you cut it down the middle and graft it together, that mouth opening where the grill slides in then becomes too small. So that's where Toxic Custom has a dilemma on their hands. They're trying to figure out, do they need to cut the grill? Which, if you're taking a look at the grill itself, there's really not much room here to cut without losing the aesthetics. Because if you slice it straight down the middle of the center T part, you kind of lose like your mesh look, and it won't look right. But then on each end, we have these air intakes, inlets. So you don't want that to look funky either. So there's just, I don't know what the solution is gonna be, but I figured this has, and the only damage to this used piece is there's one little cracked tab. So everything else is intact, but if it is already damaged, I'd much rather just be cutting and testing on this one than touching our brand new one. So we either go one of 2 ways, either have to do some modifying to the grill or modifying to the bumper, but that's for the pros to decide. But yeah, so we got our 2 grills. Then we have our air inlets, and those just, they slide up from the back, but they go down here in this bottom, this lower portion, which I don't really know. This is like a shiny gloss look to it, whereas this grill itself is just plastic. So I don't know if I like that, or maybe when it's on the car, I don't know. Or I might have these maybe just painted more of like a flat color just to kind of match it, our grill a little bit. But I had to pick this up, the grill itself, and then hopefully the last piece of the puzzle is our side marker lights. And these, don't like them orange, so I'll probably have these just smoked out to kind of blend a little more with the blue, like the dark theme we got going on. So I've done my part. I've collected all the parts, which has been part of the hassle and why it's taking so long. So you see all these other bigger YouTube channels that, you know, they start a project and they're able to finish it, start to finish in like a month or so, or they're just very quick with it. Unfortunately, I'm a real life example that that's not always the case. It's true to form. You drop a car off and then parts are hard to come by. I mean, even these grills and just collecting these few little parts that I have now, there's just, availability isn't there. So we knew that was gonna be a problem, so that kind of halts the progression of what do we do with the bumper itself, because we kind of need the grill to do that test fitting and everything like that. So I'm not expecting too much when we go to the shop today, but he did say he has some mock-up and at least something to show us. But we got all the parts, so now let's go check out the car. Just rolling up to Toxic Customs, got some parts to unload, and I'm excited to see what kind of progress they've made. So fingers crossed that I got a lot to show you. But again, I'm not gonna throw a camera in anybody's face, so I'll film what I can, but let's go check it out. So I just talked to the owner, Mike. I'm about to head home, but I'm so hyped up right now. Like, just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I feel like at this point. So, I mean, there's still a lot of work to be done, but I can kind of see the vision come into reality or whatever. So I'm so thrilled. Well, let's get home and then I'll give you the rundown exactly like what the game plan is from here on out. We're back in the Chaos Garage, and we actually picked up a souvenir along the way. So if you remember from last video, we kind of wanted to take one of two approaches in order to kind of make the transformation. The first approach would have been creating a filler panel between the two headlights, and we kind of ditched that idea for two reasons. One, just in the interest of time, but then two, honestly, I think the more that I looked at it and thought about it, I just think it would have looked crazy having that seam in the bumper. Like, I feel like it should just be smooth and just all nice and flow all together. So we threw that out the window. And unfortunately, because we didn't go with that seam idea, we were originally gonna be able to salvage this bumper, but as you can tell, it's been split in half. So what we've actually done is the top portion has been sacrificed. So all the mounting points and everything, that'll all remain the same. So a little bit below the headlight up is going to be all Gen 4, and then a little bit below the headlights down, basically where the grill starts, that's pretty much where he made the cut. So he cut off as much as he possibly could above this grill. So then that will be meshed together with the Gen 5 bumper. And in fact, it's not only just the top section, but it actually goes along the sides. So originally I picked up those side marker lights. Those are going out the window as well. So it'll just be smooth on the side. So in order to not sacrifice having to cut up our brand new grill, we are going to retain that whole mouth section where the grill fits in nicely. That'll all be proportionate the way it's supposed to be. We have to lose, I think he said 3/4 of an inch on each side is how much wider the Gen 5 bumper is. So we gotta lose that from somewhere. So we're actually gonna lose that on the corners, and that will retain all the nice flow of the bumper itself, and it should just look very natural that way. But let's get up close and personal with the old Gen 4 bumper, and I'll lay out, kind of show you, give you that visual of what we're trying to accomplish. Got it propped up so you can hopefully see. He took the line as close as possible to maintain as much material up top. So he went just about almost all the way to the grill and almost out here of this fog light housing. You'll notice not only did he cut the top, but he also cut a section of the side, because again, we're gonna have to keep, that's I think where the 3/4 is gonna be made up, where we cut those side markers off of the Gen 5 bumper. So, and that'll retain all the natural contours of the Gen 5, because it kind of, if you notice, like even on this Gen 4, it's kind of got like a lip that starts right here, but then it kind of fades off. So Gen 5 is kind of the same way. So we'll lose some of the smooth material, but we'll still retain that natural line right here where it kind of goes into your nice aesthetic looking front bumper, like your more aero look to it. Well, I'm still so excited for this project. We're inching closer. I know it's one of those things where I just feel like there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm ready to get to that point, but I know it's a process. Everything just takes time. Like I said, just ordering parts, that took a while. So until you get the parts, you can't make the progress. But now that we got the parts, hopefully at this point we start ramping up. I know I said that in the last video, but it's kind of out of my hands. You got to play the game. Once you drop it off at a shop, it's in their hands. I know some of y'all wanted to see me tackle this myself, but that's just, there's things that I'm comfortable with doing, and this is not one of them, unfortunately. So we trust the process. But I really appreciate everybody watching. If you have any questions, maybe something I missed that you're curious about, drop them down below. Like I said, I love interacting with y'all. I try to answer every single comment. But I really appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.